Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad, Paramahanta Paribhajacharya Ashto Tarasati Shishimad, Abhaya Charanarabinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupad, Ashto Tarasati Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bindi ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivashari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopakabayat Shamakunda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan ki. Vrindavan Dham ki. Mayapuram ki. Gangamai ki. Jamunamai ki. Tulsi Devi ki. Bhakti Devi ki. Samabhatta Bhaktivinoda ki. Shri Jugadharma Harinam Sankirtan ki. Brihat Midanga ki. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Avirbhava Mahotsava ki. Jai Gaur Premanandi. Glory to the Samba devotees. All glory to the Samba devotees. All glory to the Samba devotees. All glory to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Going to do a translation or something translate in the back?
They are translating in the back, but if you like, then I can translate.
No, we can do that. Hare Krishna. Shri Gaur Purnima ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. So I wanted to begin by chanting a few verses which I forgot, unfortunately. It's Kali Yuga. No. These are introductory verses to different chapters of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which are very beautiful glorifications of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I thought I would read 3 of them, and very important ones. The first one is Adi Lila, the 3rd chapter, text number 1. Shri Chaitanya Prabhum Bande Yatpat Padashraya Birdhyata Sangrinantya Karur Bhrata Agya Siddhanta Sanmanim. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By the potency of the shelter of his lotus feet, even a fool can collect valuable jewels from the conclusive truth of the minds of the revealed scriptures. Very beautiful verse. And another one from Adi Lila, 14th chapter, which tells us how to be successful in life, to get real success. Katang janas smiti dustaram sukaram bhavat vishmite viparitam syat Shri Chaitanyam namamitam. Things that are very difficult to do become very easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. And then the last one, at the beginning of Adi Lila, chapter 13. And we'll read one verse and purport from this chapter. The advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sa prasidatu Chaitanya devo yasya prasidata talila varnane yogya sadhya syat adamopyayam. I wish the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even one who is fallen can describe the pastimes of the Lord. So I wanted to read one very beautiful verse, which is, the purport is a little long. Maybe I'll just read one part of the purport. Because it's important that we understand the transcendental nature of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his birth. Today we're celebrating his birth. So as Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti tattataha. If you understand the transcendental nature of his birth, so that transcendental nature is explained very nicely by Srila Prabhupada in this verse. And so it's a little long, the purport, but it's very important. So, etabale dungherahe harashitanga shala grama seva kori vishesha koriya. After this conversation, both husband and wife were very jubilant, and together they rendered service to the household Shalagram Shila. This is Adi Lila, 13th chapter, text number 86. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda. So this conversation refers to the previous verses where Jagannath Mishra said, I saw an effulgent, the effulgent Lord entering into my heart. And then they begin to converse about this, and they're reflecting on the worshipping their Shalagram Shila. So Srila Prabhupada begins his purport by speaking about the importance of worshipping Shalagram Shila for the Brahmins. No? Because if they don't worship, as Prabhupada said, that a Grihastha should worship Gornitai, Radha Krishna, Sitaram, Shalagram, Lakshmi Narayan. This is in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, third chapter, I think it's text 22 in this purport. So Srila Prabhupada describes perfect household life. He says that in household life, everyone should worship the Lord from 4 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, only. No. That's even more than we do in the temple. No, and there should be 7 artiks in the day, and everyone who is 12 years old or older should be initiated and taught how to worship the deity. No. So this way, this maintains purity in family life. Not that family life is meant for enjoying material nature unlimitedly. and then somehow or another, after 25, 30 years, you try to crawl out of the hole of material existence. No. Sometimes great grihastas, like Satyaraj Khan, he approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he said, how can grihastas as myself, who are fallen into the materialistic way of life, have success? He's just saying that. He was totally dedicated to the service of the Lord. But he's saying that. Just like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says, anyone who even speaks my name will lose all of his pious activities. So this is the humility of a devotee. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, for grihastha life, one should constantly chant the holy name of the Lord. Otherwise, not that grihastha life means vacation from spiritual life, for 20, 30, 25 years. As one devotee said, the modern conception, the materialistic conception of griha medi, which they call grihastha life, means I spend 25 years to be where I was 25 years ago. Otherwise, you just lose those 25 years. That is griha medi. But grihastha means that one very seriously practices Krishna consciousness. So the first part of the purport is dedicated to that. So Srila Prabhupada says, the transference of the Lord from the heart of Jagannath Mishra to the heart of Sachi Devi is explained by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as follows. It is to be concluded that Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata are Nitya Siddhas, ever pure associates of the Lord. Their hearts are always uncontaminated, and therefore they never forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A common man in this world has a contaminated heart. He must therefore first purify his heart to come to the transcendental position. But Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata were not a common man and woman with contaminated hearts. When the heart is contaminated, it is said to be in the existential position of Vasudeva. Vasudeva can beget Vasudeva or Krishna, who is transcendentally situated. So then, Srila Prabhupada explains that it is to be understood that Sachi Devi did not become pregnant as an ordinary woman becomes pregnant because of sense indulgence. One should not think the pregnancy of Sachi Mata to be that of an ordinary woman, because that is an offense. One can understand the pregnancy of Sachi Mata when one is actually advanced in spiritual consciousness and fully engaged in devotional service. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:2-16, Bhagavan api vishvatma bhaktanam abhayam karaha avishveshamsha bhagina mana anakadum dube. This is a statement regarding the birth of Lord Krishna. The incarnation of the Lord entered the mind of Vasudeva and was then transferred to the mind of Devaki. Sridhar Swami gives the following annotation. There was no question of seminal discharge necessary for the birth of an ordinary human being. So I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. There's something very important to understand about the appearance of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur next quotes Sripad Baladev Vidyabhushan, who refers to the prayers offered by the demigods to Lord Krishna in the womb of Devaki and summarizes the birth of Krishna as follows. as the rising moon manifests light in the east. So Devaki, who was always situated on the transcendental platform, having been initiated in the Krishna mantra by Vasudeva, the son of Shurasena, kept Krishna within her heart. From this statement of Srimad Bhagavatam 10:2-18, it is understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, having been transferred from the heart of Anakadundubi, or Vasudeva, manifested himself in the heart of Devaki. According to Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, the heart of Devaki means the womb of Devaki, because in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the demigods say, Jishjambate kukshigata parapumam. Mother Devaki, the Lord is already within your womb. Therefore the Lord was transferred from the heart of Vasudeva to the heart of Devaki, means he was transferred to the womb of Devaki. No. So, and maybe it's actually it's stated here. I'm just not finding it right now, but actually that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I actually think it's in another purport. He says that actually, when Krishna appears, he doesn't come from the womb, he comes from the heart. And similarly, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears, he comes from the heart and he appears. That the womb is occupied by the internal energy of the Lord. And therefore, he is said to be present by his energy in the womb. So I wanted to state this because this is the nature of the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's nothing ordinary about it. Janma karma chame divyam. His birth and his activities are transcendental. And therefore mundane wranglers, as Srila Prabhupada would say, they always misinterpret everything. And they try to make the Lord mundane. Srila Prabhupada said in Kali Yuga, the divine becomes mundane and the mundane becomes divine. No. One time I was sitting with a Christian preacher in the airport waiting for a flight, and he was sitting with his wife like this. No, so he asked me why I'm dressed like this, and I asked him, "Why are you dressed like that?" No. Yeah. So then we started talking about religion, spirituality, and he said, "So does that color mean anything?" I said, "Yes, it means I'm a celibate monk." And he said, "Oh, celibacy is not good." No. He said, "Just like my wife and I, we are bound in spirituality." No. And of course, marriage should be spiritual. But he was interpreting the mundane relationship of man and woman to be divine. No. And then they take the Ras Leela of Krishna, unscrupulous persons, and they try to make that mundane so that they can participate also. Imitation Krishna, imitation rasa dance, and go to hell. So, Om Jnanati Manandasya Kiranjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapara Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Hirupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Sadivam Dvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashari Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarine. So, to understand the birth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there are many reasons why he was born, why he came to this world. So we'll discuss a few of those reasons. First of all, the external reason, and then the internal reason. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although that was most intimate for him, was his internal reason. Just like for us, whatever our most cherished desire is, then that becomes the main point in our life. So his main internal purpose was to experience the sentiments of Srimati Radharani. But we'll talk about that a little later. But he did not make that the first thing in his life. The first thing in his life, he taught us that the first thing you do is execute your duty. So what was his duty? As the avatar for Kali Yuga, his duty was to bring the holy name. But he enhanced that duty by Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauritrishe Namaha. Krishna Prema Pradayate. He gave Krishna Prema. He didn't just give the holy name. In other Kali Yugas, the holy name is given, but they don't get the same degree of Krishna Prema as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They may get Prema in Dasya Ras, but to get Prema in Madhurya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, or Sakya Ras, that is the special gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, it's stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Krishna, after leaving this world and going back to the spiritual world, he began to contemplate. As Srila Prabhupada said, maybe only 300 people could really understand Krishna, besides his eternal associates, of course. They all understood Krishna. But maybe 300 for, not very many people really understood Krishna. In the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Srila Prabhupada said that everyone achieved Sarupya. Everyone achieved Vaikuntha because of Krishna's presence. But they couldn't really, they didn't understand Krishna. They were just fortunate to be there. And Krishna being there, the Pandavas being there, Bhishma being there, they were benefited. But very few people could. So Krishna was contemplating that people now, they're worshiping me in awe and reverence. He was contemplating in Kali Yuga, even the best of people who are actually situated in devotional service, they can only come to the platform of awe and reverence. They cannot fully understand my lila, my pastimes. Therefore, let me again appear, and myself, I want to explain these pastimes. But Krishna arranges his lila so that there appears to be history. No. Although there is no history. Krishna exists eternally. Shri Radha Krishna exists eternally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exists eternally. But Krishna arranges his lila according to eternal time, meaning that every day in the spiritual world there appears to be different events happening. But actually, it is all eternal. It is all happening simultaneously, both in the spiritual world and in the material world. Krishna is going from one planet to another, from one universe to another. Just like the sun, we see it comes, when we see it comes on the horizon, goes over Delhi, goes to Bombay, goes to Middle East, but the sun is always there. So Krishna is always there performing his Nitya Lila and his Nirmitya Lila, meaning in each universe at different times, but always at some universe. So there, that was one reason. He wanted to bless everyone with the understanding of the full significance of Prema Pumarto Mahan, that the full understanding of Krishna Prema. Another reason why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and this is considered the main reason, it's in both in Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is expressed that the main reason that Krishna came was because at that time, just before his appearance, in Navadvip, there were so many learned people, so many Brahmins. They were so learned, but only a handful of devotees who were actually sent by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to appear before him. Shri Haridas Thakur, Advaita Acharya, Jagannath Mishra, Sachi Devi, Acharya Ratna, Upendra Mishra, the father of Jagannath Mishra. They all came. They're eternal associates of the Lord. So they came to, and Advaita Acharya, he was having kirtan in his house every day. And sometimes Srivas Thakur, he would have kirtan because he lived a long ways away from Advaita Acharya. So, but they were very sad because they were feeling so blissful. And then they would go out and no one would pay attention. On the contrary, they were thinking, these poor Vaishnavas, they're chanting Krishna's name, but they have no money. Well, Krishna's not giving them anything. They should learn to worship Durga and just see how opulent we are. And they're crying all night long. Sometimes people, especially in Kolavecha Sridhar, people would hear him chanting the holy name all night, and they were thinking, oh, he's hungry. Because he's so poor, he's hungry. And they were thinking Srivas and his brothers chanting all night long, that, creating a disturbance, and this disturbance will cause that the Kazi will come with his soldiers and they will punish us. And therefore all the Brahmins got together. But the real reason was that they were envious. They were thinking that these Vaishnavas, they're giving something for free, and we're charging. We're charging for something less, and they're giving free for something more, and therefore they will put us out of business. The Brahmin business. And so, all kinds of different external motives. They gathered together and they started criticizing Srivas and his brothers. And then they said that if they don't stop this chanting, they came to Srivas, if you don't stop this chanting, we're going to break your house and throw it in the Ganga. And when Advaita Acharya heard this, he said, this is the limit. I am going to call Krishna And then his devotees said, but you are the Lord. Why don't you stop this? He said, only Krishna can stop this. Even I cannot, I am not powerful enough. So I will call Krishna. And if he doesn't come, I will take my chakra and I will kill all these infidels, all these materialistic people. So then Advaita Acharya, he sat down, and he was contemplating, how will I achieve this? How will I bring Krishna? And so he remembered one verse, which I will recite. Tulasi dalamatrena chalasya chulakena cha vinikrite swam atmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsalaha. He remembered this verse. Sri Krishna is very affectionate toward his devotees. And he sells himself to the devotee who offers him merely a tulsi leaf and palm full of water. Advaita Acharya considered the meaning of this verse in this way. Not finding any way to repay the debt he owes to one who offers him a tulsi leaf and water, Lord Krishna thinks, there is no wealth in my possession that is equal to a tulsi leaf and water. Thus, the Lord liquidates his debt by offering himself to his devotee. Considering in this way, the Acharya began worshipping the Lord. So Advaita Acharya, not only did he take tulsi leaves, he took tulsi manjaris and Ganga jal, and he offered to the Lord. And by that offering, he said, now the Lord is indebted to me, he has to come. And both Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Vrindavan Das Thakur, they say, this is the main reason why the Lord appeared. Actually, later on, in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Advaita Acharya, he was constantly frustrated because Lord Chaitanya would always treat him as a superior, and he wanted to be his servant. So he tried. One time, the Lord fainted, and Advaita Acharya grabbed his lotus feet and rubbed them on his head and cleaned his lotus feet with his hands. Because Lord Chaitanya, sometimes he would be unconscious for 15, 20 minutes. And then the Lord woke up and he said, someone has taken my bhakti. And Advaita said, yes, I am that thief. I have taken away your... because you're the Supreme Person. And since you're not giving it to me, I have to take it like a thief. And then the Lord said, in my previous life, I was a cowherd boy. So now I have been born in a Brahmin family and I'm just trying to redeem myself. I'm trying to become purified. And you take away this opportunity. And then Lord Chaitanya grabbed his lotus feet. Actually, Advaita Acharya tried to grab Lord Chaitanya's feet, but Lord Chaitanya was stronger. He grabbed Advaita's lotus. So he was frustrated. Then again, he did the same thing. But the Lord, this time, he was very frustrated. And he said that you have stolen away my ecstasy. And then Advaita Acharya said, yes, you give your mercy to an ordinary oil miller or an ordinary gardener, but to Advaita and to Srivas, you will not give it. Just like Prataparudra said to Lord Chaitanya. He said, he will give his mercy to anyone except one King Prataparudra. Anyone else is eligible. So then Advaita, he said, so therefore I will take it by force. You cannot stop me. And Lord Chaitanya ran out of the house, jumped in the Ganga, and Haridas and Nityananda pulled him out, and Lord Chaitanya said, what have you done? I've lost my devotional service. What is the use of maintaining this life? Anyway, it's a long story, but then Advaita, after that, Lord Chaitanya chastised him, and he was happy. But then Lord Chaitanya again said, you are my master. So he thought, what can I do? No. What can I do? I will teach Mayavad philosophy. No. That way, I'm sure that Lord Chaitanya would chastise me very severely. So he began to preach, Brahmavadi philosophy, Mayavad philosophy. He would say things like, Krishna, don't put your faith in Krishna. Sometimes he lies. No. Sometimes he cheats. No. Put your faith in Brahman. Brahman will take you to the highest level. No. So when Lord Chaitanya heard this, he went with Nityananda Prabhu, and he practically broke down the door of Advaita Acharya, and he grabbed him by his chadar, started shaking him, and he said, why are you doing this? And he threw him on the ground. Malini and Sita Thakurani were saying, he's an old man, be careful, be gentle with him, And he started slapping him, not hard, slapping gently, And he said, I was sleeping on the ocean of milk, very peacefully. And then you brought me here to this material world. You said that you wanted me to come here and preach devotional service. And now you're denying devotional service. And then he slapped him a little more. And Advaita Acharya was blissful. He said, finally the Lord has chastised me. Now I am your servant. And then they both got up and embraced and danced and kirtan. So the point is, this was Advaita's plea for the Lord coming was very, very important. But there are other reasons. Another reason was that Narada Muni, at the beginning of Kali Yuga, he's Trikalagya. So he could see that Kali Yuga, he saw into the future that Kali Yuga would become so degraded. So he descended into the beginning of Kali Yuga. He descended, and he was playing his veena and he was chanting, but no one would listen. No one would pay attention. Everyone would just go about their business. So he became very morose. How will these people be saved in Kali Yuga? So then he's decided, I have to speak to Krishna. So he went to Dwarka in the spiritual world. And just at that time, Krishna was arriving at the palace of Rukmini, who personally was cleaning the room where Krishna would come. She had many servants, but for the service of the Lord, even though one may be very opulent, one may have so many qualities, but one should be a simple servant. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed to Lord Jagannath, he said, Naham Vipro Nacha Narapatir, that whole verse, that I am not Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, no Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha Sannyas. I am Gopipatu Parakamalayor Dasa Dasa Anudasa. So Lord Chaitanya taught us that before the Lord, we are His simple, sincere servant. These designations are to help us, this Varnashram, it's to help us perform devotional service in the proper way, according to our conditioned nature. So, for the Vaishnava, for the people who are not Vaishnavas, Varnashram is essential so that they become pious. And for the Vaishnavas, Varnashram is essential so that they can serve Krishna properly according to their nature. So these things, but in one's heart, when one is before the deity, or one is before the spiritual master, or one is before the Vaishnavas, then one simply considers, I am the servant of the servant. This is our position internally. But externally, we have these systems created by Krishna himself to help us advance in devotional service. Srila Prabhupada said in one purport here in Chaitanya Charitamrita that one cannot frivolously or one cannot try to achieve Krishna prema artificially. One has to perform regulated devotional service. And then when one's service, regulated devotional service means one is practicing to become a pure devotee. And then when one becomes a pure devotee, then you can experience Krishna prema. Otherwise, you will become a sahajya. So Krishna came and Rukmini began to bathe his feet, but then she began to cry, and Krishna said, "Why are you crying? What is wrong? I thought you would be happy to see me. Should I go away? Are you remembering the time when I was jokingly chastised you? Why are you crying?" And she said, "Why I'm crying, you don't understand. You don't understand the power of your lotus feet. How the Shakti that is there in those lotus feet that bring everyone to your shelter, that bring bliss to the hearts of the devotees. Only Radharani understands this perfectly." So Krishna was intrigued. Something I don't understand? Everything I know. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Everything is coming from me. All knowledge is coming from me. How can I not understand? She said, "No, this you cannot understand. This only Srimati Radharani understands." So then Krishna thought, I must accept the sentiments of Radharani. And right at that moment when he was thinking like that, yes, I will come in the future with those sentiments. Narada Muni came, he arrived. And of course Rukmini stood up, received him, and Krishna, "Why are you so sad? Why are you looking morose?" And he said, "I just saw the effects of Kali Yuga. No one will worship you, my Lord. How will we save the fallen? I was chanting your glories. No one was interested. What will we do?" And Lord Chaitanya, Krishna said, "No, I am going to come in a very special mood of my own devotee." And as Krishna began to contemplate like this, he took the form of Lord Chaitanya, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And Narada Muni, when he saw that, he was amazed and he fainted. And then he got up and he fainted again. Then he got up and he fainted again. And then Lord Chaitanya was saying, "Yes, I will come in this form. And I will bless all the living entities who are fallen in Kali Yuga with the greatest and the most perfect variety of love of Godhead, of Krishna Prem." And then Narada Muni closed his eyes. The effulgence of Lord Chaitanya was so great, he couldn't even look at it. And then when he opened his eyes, it was Krishna again. And Krishna said, "Immediately, Narada, you go and tell all the demigods and all of my associates that they should appear before me and that I will come." And so then Narada Muni went and spoke to Lord Shiva, Parvati, Brahma, Indra, and convinced them all, "Now you must go and you must take your birth." So to usher in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Brahma, he became who? Haridas. And Shiva, who did he become? Yes. Of course, this is Sada Shiva. Sada Shiva, not the Rudra Shiva that occupies the material world. Sada Shiva, the expansion of Mahavishnu. He came as a Dvaitacharya. In the Bhagavatam it says, "Chitas padam Shiva varinchi nutam sharanyam." That the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are the supreme place of pilgrimage. Everyone should go to those lotus feet. Even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma who they themselves are worshipped by everyone, they are taking shelter of these lotus feet. So everyone should take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then there was one incident when Narada Muni was speaking to Lord Shiva. He said, do you remember one time when I went to Lakshmi Devi and I begged for Mahaprasadam and I did 12 years of austerities, and finally, reluctantly, she gave me the Lord's Mahaprasadam. I took it, and then I came to you, and I was feeling so much bliss. And you said, why are you so blissful? I got Mahaprasadam for the Lord. And he said, I'm your brother, and you didn't give none for me? And he looked at his fingernail. I have a little bit here. And immediately Lord Shiva took it, and he became blissful. He started dancing so hard that it appeared to be the destruction of the universe. So Bhumi Devi, she prayed to Parvati, what is going on? And Parvati came to Shiva and she said, my Lord, why are you dancing at this time? It's not time, for destruction. No, I'm very blissful. I had Mahaprasadam of the Lord. And she said, all this time you're saying I'm your better half. You didn't give any for me? Oh, I'm so sorry. She said, I am going to pray to the Lord that in the future I want all of his Mahaprasadam, and then I will distribute it to everyone. No one will be left out. And then the Lord appeared to her, and he told her, yes, I will appear and I will make everyone pious. And I will also appear in a special form, Jagannath. And you will appear as Bimala. And I will give you all my Mahaprasadam, and you will distribute it to everyone. And in the form of Chaitanya, I will purify everyone so that they will go to Jagannath Puri and take your prasad, take my prasadam through you. So that was another reason. But there's another reason, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Krishna wanted to bless all the living entities in Kali Yuga. So he wanted to come in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he has two reasons for coming. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he expresses these in the very first verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he says that the Lord, Anarpita Chirim Chirat Karunya Vitirno Kalo, that in Kali Yuga there is a form that is Chirim Chirat, has never been seen before. Meaning that this degree of mercy was never exhibited even by Krishna himself. Krishna, as Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. And how many people in Kali Yuga can follow Bhagavad Gita? Of course, the devotees must follow Bhagavad Gita, but how many people in general? They cannot, most of them give some in personal interpretation. So therefore, he's giving something that no one has ever given before. Samaritum ujjvala rasam sabhakti shriyam. He is giving ujjvala rasam sabhakti shriyam, the most brilliant, pure form of bhakti in the form of Krishna Prem by chanting the holy name. Hari Purata Sundara Duti Kadamba Sandipita. He will take this transcendental form and Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratu Va Shachinandanaha, and let that supreme form of the Lord, who is so merciful and distributing Krishna consciousness to everyone, occupy a very special position in my heart. So this is Lord Chaitanya. He's coming to distribute what has never been given before. This opportunity that anyone can achieve Krishna Prema. Of course, not in the same way that the Lord achieved it, when he came, he would just embrace people and they would get Krishna prema. Actually, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, when he appeared, of course we know that everyone began to chant the holy name. The first people that began to chant were Haridas and Advaita Acharya. They perceived that the Lord had taken birth. They began to jump and dance and chant, and all the devotees, seeing them, they all began to dance and chant. Everyone was assembled already at the Ganga because there was an eclipse. Just like today, there will be full moon appearing at 6:05 p.m. But that full moon also appeared. But Vrindavan Das Thakur, he explains esoterically that the moon was thinking, now Gaura Chandra is appearing. So this is the real moon, which has millions of times more effulgence than me. So why should I appear? I will just be like a firefly before the sun. No comparison. So even the pigeons want to hear about Lord Chaitanya. They want to worship Lord Chaitanya. So, of course, sometimes they leave the wrong remnants, wrong type of offering. Then the Lord appeared. Everybody was chanting. All the devotees were chanting, and even the Muslims and the atheists. They also, they would also go to the Ganga because they understood this is not auspicious. But they saw everyone chanting, and they began to mimic the chanting. Yeah, Hare Krishna, Krishna. But they couldn't stop. They kept chanting and chanting and chanting. By the influence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they couldn't stop chanting. And so, chanting, everyone was chanting, because Lord Chaitanya empowered the holy name with a special Shakti, that the holy name would be especially merciful. The holy name has always been there. Maha Mantra has always been there. But previously, it wasn't so accessible. So now, by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, that the holy name became accessible to everyone. And then, with Lord Chaitanya, he appeared, and he blessed everyone, first by the holy name, and then, after he was born, Nilambar Chakravarti, he started to do his horoscope. And he was looking at the horoscope, and the more he began to interpret the horoscope, he said, I cannot understand this horoscope. This horoscope says that he will be a great king. And he said there was a prediction that a great king will appear in Bengal. Maybe this is him. But then he said, no, he's greater than a king. He kept reading and reading. He has the symptoms of a Mahapurusha, but he's greater than a Mahapurusha. He is the greatest personality that ever existed. I cannot fathom. And right at that time, an unknown Brahmin came from, there was so many people gathered around, so this Brahmin came, and he said, I will continue the horoscope, because this child is so special. And he began to read. He said, this child is exactly like Narayan. It's just like Gargamuni. He said the same thing about Krishna. This child is exactly like Narayan. Actually, Nilambar Chakravarti is Gargamuni in Chaitanya Lila. But this Brahman is appearing, and he said, he will inaugurate the supreme religious practice within Kali Yuga. Anyone who even sees him will give up their sinful activities. They will become compassionate toward all living entities, and they will take to the devotional service of the Lord. He will establish a level of devotional service which is hankered for by Brahma, Shiva, and Shukadev. He will achieve the perfection of of religiosity. And he will exhibit that perfection in his own activities. Even the demigods will come to worship him. And then he saw something else, but he stopped. He saw he will take sannyas. But he didn't want to say that to Jagannath Mishra. Because later on, Jagannath Mishra had a dream. And in that dream, he saw Mahaprabhu with no hair and danda and take sannyas. And he told Sachi Mata the next day, I had this dream. And he had it again. And then he told Sachi Mata, I'm taking him out of Gurukula. I'm taking him away from, no more studies for him. He was he was such a great student. He memorized the alphabet at 5 years old. He was incredible. And so then Sachi Mata said, "How he's a Brahmin? How will he survive?" And Jagannath Mishra said, "How does a cobbler survive? How does anyone survive? Everyone survives by the mercy of Krishna. Krishna will maintain him nicely." So he took him out of school. But then all of the Brahmins came and said, "Why are you such a fool, Jagannath? This boy is so brilliant and you're depriving him of his education. What are you doing?" So reluctantly Jagannath Mishra put him back. And then he had the dream that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would take sannyas. And he stopped eating. And he just sat in his room contemplating. And after some months, he left his body. He could not fathom that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would leave, because already Vishwarup left. He left them and took sannyas. So Jagannath Mishra could not fathom that. And so anyway, going back to his birth, then after that, after he was born, he performed wonderful, beautiful childhood pastimes. Some of those pastimes, his main pastime was that he would cry. Children always cry when they're young. But he would cry until someone chanted the holy name. Because the first time he started crying, they didn't know what to do. And, mother, when this child tried to give him some milk, tried to do this, but nothing would work. And then someone started chanting and he smiled. And then they realized that, so they all chanted the holy name and he was smiling. Then they stopped, he cried. And so, 24-hour kirtan. Had to be 24-hour kirtan for Mahaprabhu, because otherwise he would cry. But sometimes they would let him cry for a few minutes, but 24-hour kirtan. So then, just when he started walking, he would walk through the house. And so one time he was walking through the house, and he didn't have any ankle bells, but because he eternally has ankle bells, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi heard the sound of ankle bells. And they got up. They said, "What is that? Who has ankle bells?" So they went into Nimai's room. He was sleeping. And as he was sleeping, then they looked, no ankle bells. It wasn't him. And then when daylight came, they saw the footprints, these footprints with all the signs of Krishna in the dust. And Jagannath Mishra said, "Sachi Devi, we are the most fortunate people in the three worlds. Our deity is walking around in our house. Our deity is manifesting and walking around in the house. Certainly we are going back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime." So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, Sita Thakurani gave him the name Nimai, because the neem tree protects one against ghosts. So because to protect him against ghosts, she gave him the name Nimai. The astrologer gave him the name Vishvambar, and also Chaitanya. He said because he will take everyone's consciousness to Krishna, he will have the name Chaitanya. And because he will inundate the world with the holy name, he will have the name Vishvambar. No? And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sometimes he would indicate who he was. Just like a Brahmin came to the house of Jagannath Mishra, and this Brahmin wanted to cook for the Lord, for his Gopal deity. So they made the arrangement, he cooked, and Nimai came and ate the offering. So he said, "Oh, I'm so unfortunate." Then they convinced him, he cooked again, Nimai took the offering. No. And in the meantime, everyone had taken him away. And they chastised him. They said, "Why are you eating the remnants of this Brahmin? You don't know what kind of Brahmin he is. No, he may be a fallen Brahmin." And Nimai said, in my previous birth, I was a cowherd boy, and I was always eating the remnants of the Brahmins. No, so he revealed but nobody could understand. Many times he revealed himself, but no one could understand. No, and so then the Brahmin, finally Vishwarup came. The Brahmin was going to just eat some roots. He said, I have been impious. Gopal will not allow me to take his rice remnants. So let me just eat some roots. And Vishwarup convinced him, no, you must cook again. We will make sure. And Jagannath Mishra says, I will take Nimai, I will put him in a room. We will put a board on the door. We will lock it. I will sit in front of the door, and everyone else will sit on the other side of the door. And someone said, let us tie him up. But Sachimata couldn't do that. No, couldn't tie him up. So the Brahmin, it was very late at night, maybe like 2, 3 in the morning. No. So he started his offering this time, and he looked, and there was Nimai. I said, what are you doing? And he said, you're calling me. No, you're calling Gopal with your Gopal mantra, so I'm coming. No. And so the Brahmin was completely confused. Then Nimai smiled, he turned around, he walked over to the Brahmin, and he assumed two forearm forms. He showed the Brahmin 8 arms. The first time he had the 4 symbols of Vishnu, and then in the 4 arms appeared 2 arms playing the flute, 1 arm with butter, and 1 arm with a herding stick. No. And the Brahmin, he fainted, unconscious. Then he looked again, he fainted again. Then he looked again, and he said, my dear Brahmin, you used to come to the house of Nanda Maharaj, and I would give you rice. No. And so now you are giving me rice, and this is our pastime eternally. No. You are giving me rice, I'm eating it, I'm giving you rice. No. But I have disclosed this to you, don't tell anyone, or I will kill you. No. The Brahmin, no. Okay, no. And so then everyone woke up, and they saw Nimai. They said, oh no, it's okay. My offering is complete. Gopal has taken the offering. No. Of course, Gopal never got to eat. The deity never got to eat, but he got to eat through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No. And so then the Brahmin thought, let me tell everyone, who is their son? Who is this boy? But then he remembered, he will kill me. Better I stay here in Navadvip and I come and see him every day. So he stayed for 3 months, and every day he would come and he would feed Nimai and he would take his remnants. So these are some of there are many, 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 many pastimes. Just one pastime I'll mention because it's so wonderful. That when Nimai was a little boy, he was with his friends. And so there was a litter of puppies. So they saw these puppies, and so we said, we will all take a puppy. And so they said, Nimai, you go first. So Nimai picked one. He said, oh, you picked the most beautiful one. Well, you told me to go first. No. They said, so everybody took their puppies. They went home. No. But the boys, just like the cowherd boys, they told Yashoda Mai that Krishna was eating dirt. So the boys went to the house of Sachimat and they said, Nimai has a puppy. So Sachimat, what? And she came home with the puppy. Just see this nice puppy. And she said, we have trained you as a Brahmin, and now you're playing with dogs? No. We as Brahmins, we care for the cows, not the dogs. No, we also give some food to the dogs, but no, this is my puppy. No. And she said, all right, you leave the puppy here. I will take care of him. No. And then you go bathe. So when he went, she took the puppy, sent him away. So Nimai came back. He was very sad. My puppy is gone. No. But then, he carried on with his activities. And sometime later, all of a sudden, that puppy, he grew up, he got a little bigger. And he was walking in the streets of Navadvip. And then, all of a sudden, he stood up on his hind legs and he put his other legs in the air and he started chanting, Govinda, 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 And then he went into ecstasy and he fell over, left his body, and a chariot came from Goloka Vrindavan. It took him back home, back to God. So this is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu grew up. He became Nimai Pandit. Nimai Pandit was an arrogant Brahmin. So one can think, how can the Lord be arrogant Brahmin? No. The Lord is merciful. The Lord is sweet. Of course, although he was arrogant, he would argue with everyone, especially with Gadadhar and Mukunda. And Gadadhar was a simple Brahmin, although he was very learned. So he didn't like to argue. He was very submissive. And he said, why? He said, Nimai is so beautiful. No, he's so beautiful. Why is he arguing all the time? I should not associate with him, but I cannot give up his beauty. But Mukunda would argue with him. And one day he thought, I'm very expert in Alankar. I would defeat him in Alankar. So he began to speak about how to properly arrange Alankar in Sanskrit language. And Nimai heard it. And then he said, yes, and then also there's this and this and this. And so Mukunda left. And every time Mukunda would see him, he would walk the other direction. And Nimai Pandit, one day he had an assistant named Govinda. This is not the Govinda disciple of Ishwara Puri. This is another Govinda. He said, just see, he is walking away, but one day he will see that I will be the greatest Vaishnava. He said that. He was indicating that he will become a devotee. Of course, he's the Lord. But he did this for a special reason. And that's why he became very arrogant Pandit. But no one could resist him. But they also could not tolerate him. And so then he challenged everyone. He said, I will give you this argument, you defeat me. So he gave the argument, no one could defeat him. Then he gave another argument to defeat his argument. He said, can anyone defeat this argument? No one could defeat. Then he gave another argument to defeat that argument. He said, can anyone defeat this argument? No. And then he went to his original argument and defeated the last argument. So what was he doing? He was showing that the sophistry and the word jugglery of gyan without bhakti is simply a waste of time. It just circles, goes in circles, goes in circles, goes in circles. And then the devotees came to him. They said, you're so beautiful, you have so many wonderful qualities, but please become a Vaishnava. And he said, one day I will become a Vaishnava by your mercy. And then, just before he was leaving for Gaya, the devotees came And he said, now you're going to Gaya. Please go and worship the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, and then maybe by those blessing of those lotus feet, you will become a Vaishnava. And then the Lord said, I think by your blessings, I will become a Vaishnava. So Nimai Pandit was showing that you may have so much knowledge, you may have so many qualities. No? Harava Bhaktir, Harava Bhaktir Kuto Mahad Vasya. That whenever, even if one has all the greatest qualities, no, but Harava Bhaktasya Mahadguto no. One will never, one can never achieve the real purpose of life. No. But if one, Bhagavat Bhakti Akinchana, no, if one is Yashasti Bhakti Bhagavat Yakinchana, if one with humility performs devotional service, then Sarvaya Gunais Tatra Samasate Sura. Then you will be full of all good qualities. No? So he wanted to show that only by devotional service, not by learning, not by gyan or by austerities or penances, can one achieve the perfection of devotional service. Actually, Lord Chaitanya taught that later on in his pastimes. When he was doing kirtan, there was one brahmachari that always wanted to, he kept asking Srivas, I want to see this chanting, I want to see this kirtan. Shiva said, no, Lord Chaitanya, only his personal associates by invitation, RSVP, no, only by personal invitation, no. And so he kept insisting, I'm a brahmachari, I have never even looked at a woman in my life. I only drink milk and eat fruits. No, I do austerities all day. No. So finally Srivas thought, he's so pious, let him see the kirtan. He brought him in and said, but I'm going to have to hide you. No, I'm going to have to hide you somewhere. No. And then, so the brahmachari was there, Lord Chaitanya came, he began to dance and chant in ecstasy. Then he stopped. He said, something is wrong. I think someone is here who should not be here. And everyone looked at Srivas, no, because they didn't want Lord Chaitanya to stop his dancing. And so Srivas said, there is no one here who is impious, no? And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, who is here? So he went over and brought the brahmachari. And he said, he is a brahmachari. He only takes milk and eats fruits. No. And Lord Chaitanya said, you think by eating fruits and by drinking milk you can get Krishna prema? You can get my mercy? No. He said that you think by some knowledge or some austerities or by celibacy? The gopis, they had no knowledge. No. The monkeys, they served me. They had no intelligence, but they achieved the perfection of life. No. Gajendra, he was an elephant. He had no brain, but he achieved the perfection of life by worshiping me, not by eating fruits. No. He said, so many birds, they're eating fruits, but they're not achieving Krishna prema. No. So then he said, take him out. No. But as he was leaving, he said, I don't care. I'm happy that you take me out and you throw me out. He was saying this to the devotees. Because I saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead dancing. This is the perfection of my life. Lord Chaitanya said, bring him back. No. He said, now you have understood that the perfection of life is there when one takes a humble attitude and receives the chastisement of the spiritual master and the Lord, no, as mercy. And then Lord Chaitanya put his feet on the Brahman's head. He said, now you will be imbued with devotional service. And all of the devotees bowed down to the Brahman. They were very happy. Sometimes if we're conditioned, if we're envious, we see some devotee getting some mercy. Oh, he's more advanced than me. I hope that something happens to him, so that I can be the most advanced devotee. But the devotees of Lord Chaitanya were very happy to see someone get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So, Nimai Pandit went to Gaya. No. And he worshipped the feet of Lord Vishnu. He listened to the Brahmins chanting the glories of Krishna. And then he saw Ishwarapuri. He remembered Ishwarapuri. He had previously seen him in Navadvip. Ishwarapuri wrote a book called Sri Krishna Vijay. And he asked Lord Chaitanya, please correct this book for me. You're a great scholar, so maybe there's some fault. And he said, there can be no fault in a great devotee. Even though he was Nimai Pandit, when he saw a great devotee like that, he was very submissive. And he said, a great devotee like you can never commit any fault. And he said, well, anyway, you take the book and you correct it. So every day he would speak from that book to Gadadhar Pandit, who was in ecstasy. So Lord Chaitanya said, well, actually, I did find one fault. No, you are using the Atmanpedi form, which means the benefit for oneself. You should use the Parasmaipadi form, which means benefit for everyone. So Ishwarapuri said, okay. So he went. Then the next day, he came back and he said, actually, I'm going to use the Atmanpedi. No. And Lord Chaitanya accepted the correction of his devotee. No. That he always is submissive to his devotee. And also he showed that for a superior, because externally speaking, Ishwarapuri was he was the disciple of Madhavendra Puri, and he was going to become his spiritual master, so he accepted his chastisement. So then he met Ishwarapuri, and Ishwarapuri came by. One day he was cooking, and the Lord offered him the rice. And he said, I cannot take it. There's only enough for one person. Let us divide it. He said, no, I'll cook again. And while he was talking to Ishwarapuri, Lakshmi Devi came and cooked more rice for Lord Chaitanya. No. And then Lord Chaitanya said, you are a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. You are the most pure personality. I want initiation from you. And Ishwarapuri said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No. How can I initiate you? But if you give me that order, I have to do it. No. So he said. So he initiated. Then he came back full of transcendental bliss, and he began his Sankirtan movement with his devotees. This was a very important lesson for us, because Lord Chaitanya showed that before you can actually preach Krishna consciousness, there has to be Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. You have to learn Krishna consciousness. No? Jarita Katari Kaha Krishnu Badesh. No. Lord Chaitanya said, as much as you have learned about Krishna, then you can give it to others. But you can't give to others something that you don't have. So therefore, we need to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita every day, so that we can worship the Supreme Lord properly. No? And then we can do the Sankirtan. So first he prepared his devotees by ecstatic kirtans. And then he did the first kirtan. The first big kirtan. Where was it? Chand Kazi's house. No. So, because he also wanted to show that kirtan is meant for purifying even the most fallen. No. Even everyone will become a recipient. And he purified Chand Kazi, who actually said, he admitted to Lord Chaitanya, after I broke that mridanga, because everyone was complaining, all the Brahmins were complaining. He said, I didn't really want to do that, but they were all complaining. So I was establishing order. But that night I had a dream, and this big, huge lion came and sat on top of me. And he put his nails into my chest. And he said, if you ever interfere with the Sankirtan movement again, I will tear out your heart. He said, then I woke up, and I went like this. And I looked at my chest, and there were 10 marks in my chest. And he showed Lord Chaitanya his chest with the marks of Lord Nrsimhadev. So by the Lord's mercy, Sometimes the Lord's mercy comes in the form of chastisement. Sometimes the Lord's mercy comes in the form of nectar. But we accept that mercy in whatever form it comes. So then Lord Chaitanya unleashed his Sankirtan movement. And for that time, he went out. He was so dedicated to the Sankirtan movement and preaching that Lakshmi Devi, she left her body out of separation. The Lord was always out preaching. So she left in separation. Then he again got married. He married Vishnupriya. And then Vishnupriya, after he married her, he became initiated. And he was also just fully absorbed in the holy name. Sometimes he would sit in front of her and he would chant as if she didn't exist. But then, after some time, he felt some mercy. He began to show her more affection. But then, what happened? He took sannyas. Now, his sannyas, when he decided to take sannyas, why did he do it? Because one day he was feeling the ecstasy of the gopis. And he went into the classroom and he started chanting Gopi, Gopi. And one of his students said, "What is this mantra? This is not a bona fide mantra. You should chant about Krishna and then you'll become purified." So Lord Chaitanya thought, he's committing offenses against me. How can I stop these materialistic people from committing offenses? If I take sannyas, then they will offer obeisances. And then they will not commit offenses. And then they can become purified. But that was not his real reason for taking sannyas. That was his external reason. His internal reason was, I want to go to Vrindavan. I want to show everyone that that everyone should give up everything. No sarvadhamam parityajamam ekam sharanam braja. Everyone should give up internally, not externally. Because externally nothing belongs to us anyway. Bhoktaram jagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Everything belongs to Krishna. So we don't have anything. Prabhupada said one time, renunciation means understanding that you don't have anything. That is real renunciation. So he wanted to show everyone that the goal of life is to achieve the mercy of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. And he could do that by showing that achievement is beyond any material situation or affection. And he said, by taking sannyas, as long as I remain here, I will be bound by family life, my responsibilities. So for the higher purpose of preaching Krishna consciousness, even I can transcend the obligations of family. And so he did that. He took sannyas. Of course, his taking sannyas was a pitiable situation for Sachi Devi. When Nityananda Prabhu heard that he was taking sannyas, he thought, how can I look at Vishwambar without any hair? His hair is so beautiful. And so gradually Lord Chaitanya told many devotees that he would take sannyas. And the word got to Sachi Devi. Nityananda thought, what will happen to Sachi Devi? When she heard it, she immediately called Nimai and she said, if you take sannyas, that's the end of me. And he said, my dear mother, you should understand that I never leave you and I will never leave you. That previously you were Prishni and I came as Prishni Garbha. Then you were Aditi and I was Vamanadev. And then you were Kaushalya and I was Ramachandra. And then you were Devaki and I was Krishna. And now you are Sachi and I am Vishwambar, Nimai. But I will always be with you. I will always be within your heart. And even after I leave home, I will incarnate in two forms, especially for you. One is the deity, and the other one is the holy name. I will live in the holy name in your heart, and every time you chant, you will feel my presence. And Lord Chaitanya announced that these are the two forms that Lord Chaitanya remains present in Kali Yuga, in his deity form and in the form of the holy name. Therefore, he is the incarnation, the only incarnation that stays through the whole Yuga. No. He will stay for the whole Yuga in the form of the holy name. The deity may not stay, because after Kali Yuga advances to a certain point, there will be no more deities. No. Maybe one or two underground deities. No. So then Lord Chaitanya, for 6 years, he preached Krishna consciousness, going to South India, preaching everywhere. Then he stayed in Jagannath Puri and he didn't leave. And the first 6 years in Jagannath Puri, he would chant and dance with the devotees and receive the devotees. But the last 12 years, he remained isolated in Gambhira with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy. No. And feeling the separation of Srimati Radharani. That is when he realized his cherished desire, which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami speaks about in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho. He wanted 3 things to achieve. And therefore, the first thing, to understand the love of Srimati Radharani, the greatness of that love. Pranaya Mahina. And then, Banaye Vai, Yenad Bhutam Mahimamrita. That then to understand the sweetness of the love of Srimati Radharani. And then, Va Madiya Shokyam Chasya Mad Anubhavata Kidrisham. And then to feel the happiness that Radharani feels when she sees the sweetness of Krishna. And to feel that happiness. Beti Lobhi, Yat Bhavad Bhi, Chamramani, Satchigarbha Sindho Harindu. And therefore he appeared just like the moon appearing on the horizon of the moon of the womb of Shachi Devi. So that was his internal reason. 3 things. Understand the love of Radharani, the sweetness that Radharani feels seeing the sweetness of Krishna, and the happiness that she gets from that sweetness. That was his internal reason. So he realized that internal reason for 12 years while residing in Gambhira in Jagannath Puri. And at the end of his pastime, even while just close to the end, just a few months before he left this world, because Lord Chaitanya also knew that there would be the sahaja tendency. So therefore Lord Chaitanya began to discuss with Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar the Dhruva Lila and Prahlad Lila. For 2 months he spoke just on Dhruva and showing that all the Bhagavatam, the whole Bhagavatam is the same nectar. Not that we should jump to the 10th canto, not that we should try to imitate Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and become sahajas. And of course we know 13 different, now there's probably more than 13. In Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time there were 13 Apasampradayas, now there's hundreds. And we all always have to be careful that we don't make ISKCON an Apasampradaya. We have to faithfully follow the teachings of Srila Prabhupada and the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that our Krishna consciousness movement will flourish for the next 10,000 years, and Lord Chaitanya's mercy will be properly distributed to everyone, and people will understand the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And therefore Lord Chaitanya, he wrote the Shikshastikam, which the devotees chant daily, well, hopefully, the devotees who are serious about chanting the holy name. And he left the whole body of his teachings to be explained and written down and elucidated by the Parampara, by Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and all of our acharyas. They took the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He spoke especially to Rupa and Sanatan, and he spoke very intimately to Swarup Damodar, who wrote down these notes, and those notes were given to Raghunath Das Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami composed very, very intimate writings about Srimati Radharani, Vilapa Kushmandali, and so all of these things were coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he wanted his devotees to take the credit. So here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, just to conclude, it says that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the whole world. So Srila Prabhupada in his purport, he says, how did he deliver the whole world? He only preached in India. How did he deliver the whole world? Because that delivery process will go on throughout Kali Yuga, through this Sankirtan movement. So therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this nectarian responsibility, just like Krishna gave Arjuna the credit, and Ramachandra gave Hanuman the credit of going to Lanka and giving the message to Sita, saving her life. He actually saved her life. And so the Lord always gives the credit. He gave the credit of teaching the holy name to Haridas Thakur. He gave the credit of the understanding of Radha and Krishna to Ramananda Roy. And he gave the credit, and he's giving the credit. He wants to give the credit of giving this Sankirtan movement and saving the whole universe. Srila Prabhupada said, first we will save this planet, and then gradually this movement will spread to the whole universe. This is Srila Prabhupada's prediction. But we have to be very, very serious about how we follow Lord Chaitanya's instructions and indications coming to us from Sri Rupa Goswami, from the 6 Goswamis, from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan, Jagannath Das Babaji, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Srila Prabhupada, and now the servants of Srila Prabhupada. We have such a grave responsibility. No time for Maya. No time for no wasting time. Abhyartha kalatvam. Rupa Goswami said that, well, actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said it to Sanatana Goswami. Rupa Goswami wrote it down, that abhyartha kalatvam, one of the symptoms that appears in the stage of Bhava Bhakti is a devotee cannot tolerate to lose one moment. But it doesn't mean, I'm not in Bhava Bhakti so I can waste time. No. It means that we understand that if I want to be in Bhava Bhakti, I should stop wasting time. Srila Prabhupada, once he said that he was speaking to the devotees, and he said, so I became very serious about this Krishna consciousness when I was 69 years old. Prabhupada said, I wasted so much time. Now I realize that. Of course, he wasn't wasting time. But a devotee feels like that. That if there's any moment in my life that I wasn't intensely practicing Krishna consciousness, it's a waste of time. But of course, Prabhupada was not wasting time. He was giving a perfect example for the grihastas, that you must be responsible. You have to be responsible for your family. You have to carry out your duty. And you have to preach Krishna consciousness even while you're working or even while you're performing the activities in your life. Not that grihasta life started now and so no more preaching. No. Every devotee, by Srila Prabhupada's example, every grihasta must preach. By his instruction to Kurma Brahman, he said, Kurma Brahman wanted to go with Lord Chaitanya. He wanted to. He saw the ecstatic devotees chanting, dancing, And he's thinking, I am in the well of materialistic family life. And he said, I want to go with you. And he said, no, you stay at home. Your duty is that all the people around you in your neighborhood, you make them Krishna conscious. He gave him this instruction. And Lord, and Srila Prabhupada is giving us all that instruction through his books. You be a brahmachari, grihasta, vanaprastha, sannyas, or some other designation that may pop up in Kali Yuga. Whatever you are, preach this Krishna consciousness. Become Krishna conscious and preach this Krishna consciousness. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be so happy. So, just to conclude, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said that how is this Krishna consciousness happening? He said, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Hladini Shaktir Asmad. It is all coming from the Hladini Shakti. Shri Radha and Krishna, their pastimes, their activities, their leelas, their qualities can never be understood by mundane intelligence. It must come from the Hladini Shakti. And therefore, Ekat Manav, Papir Bhuvi, what is it? Bhuvi, I can't remember. Buddhi Pura, that now that oneness that previously exists, otherwise Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it eternally becomes two. Deha bedam katau tau. They have become two. And now those two, Chaitanyakyam, now those two in the form of Chaitanya, Pakatam Aduna, Tadvayam, Chakyam Aptam, they have become one again in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And therefore, Radha Bhava Jyoti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. Krishna has taken this wonderful, beautiful golden form with all of the sentiments of Srimati Radharani. And he is distributing that to everyone, distributing Krishna consciousness. Therefore, we should understand that what is coming from our parampara is originating from the Hladini Shakti, the bliss of Krishna consciousness, what we can distribute to everyone, how everyone will become happy through the chanting of the holy name. It is the most sacred thing. And therefore we have to keep our hearts very sacred, very pure, by the association of devotees, by the chanting of the holy name, by hearing the Bhagavatam, by sanctifying our homes, and by worshipping the deity in Tulsi Devi. If we do this, then Krishna consciousness will certainly spread all over the world. So these are some thoughts on this Guru Purnima day. I'll stop here. Any question, comment?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. You told many pastimes. So one point is there in Chaitanya Bhagavat, when Jagannath Mishra stopped the education of Lord Chaitanya. At that time, Lord Chaitanya was very out of etiquette, he followed. He could not resist his father, and he, according to his order, he has to stop the education. And now he started committing so many mischiefs, and he wanted that the complaint should come to Jagannath Mishra that your son is doing these kinds of mischiefs. So he was doing so many mischiefs, and he was revealing himself so that they can understand that, this is son of Jagannath Mishra committing. So he wanted more and more complaints should come to his father. And his father was, listening complaints, but he could not say anything, because he has this answer that if you do not educate me, then I don't know what is good, what is bad, what to do, what not to do. So Jagannath Mishra was tolerant, and he was just going in that way. Now Lord Chaitanya make one more point, another way. So he sat on the burnt pots, which were very blackish, and his whole body was becoming blackish. And Mother Sachi told that you are sitting in this unholy place. This is very contaminated place. So Nimai said, I don't know what to do, what not to do, because if you do not educate me, I do not know what to do, what not to do. So Mother Sachi was telling, come on, and you take bath. But Nimai was saying, no, I cannot. If you do not educate me, I will not stand up. So at that time, so many crowd was there, and everybody could understand that this is not the fault of this child. This child wants to be educated, and parents are not educating. Otherwise, everybody was thinking that this child is committing mischief and not going to the Gurukula. So everybody was thinking that this child, himself is not going to Gurukula, he is not reading or not getting educated. But now everybody could understand, child wants to be educated and parents are not educated. Then everybody told Mother Sachi, which enemy has suggested you that you are not educating your child, and he wants to be educated. Otherwise, ordinarily, the child do not want to be educated. They do not want to go to school, and parents are forcibly sending, and this is a special case. This child wants to be educated, so why are you not educating him? Then Jagannath Mishra was not at that time in the house. So then Mother Sachi forcibly took him and went to the Ganges and bathed Nimai. And then when Jagannath Mishra came back in the house, then Mother Sachi told that this boy is very much unsatisfied, and we have to educate, and so many people were forcing us that you should educate your child. And then those people, the friends of Lord Jagannath Mishra, they came to Jagannath Mishra. This is the case. We did not know that your child wants to be educated and you are not educating him. So otherwise they were thinking this child is making mischiefs and he himself is not getting educated. So Lord Chaitanya played this kind of trick that everybody could understand that he is not responsible, that he is not going to be educated. The mother, father, parents are going. And then Jagannath Mishra ordered Nimai, go and be educated. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, grateful Maharaj. It was truly mercy from your end. A complete ringside view of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you very much. We went through the whole book. My question, Maharaj, is there is one pastime that we hear about Advaita Acharya and Srivas Thakur starting Chaitanya Nam Sankirtan. And then Srivas Thakur covering the sun and saying that no, you cannot really cover your glories. But I'm putting that in the context of modern day ISKCON. Because Mahaprabhu himself told us to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we're doing Hare Krishna Mahamantra more. How much or more or less should we be doing like Nitai Gauranga and Jai Satchidanand? And is it right or is it wrong? What is the right principle to be applied?
As far as chanting, Srila Prabhupada said mostly Mahamantra. There was one conversation between Prabhupada and Jayadvaita Maharaj, and some other devotees were there. So they were saying, so Srila Prabhupada in Kirtan can we chant the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Prabhupada said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna. They said, but what about, and somebody said some other song. Prabhupada said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna. So every time somebody said something, Prabhupada said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna. This is Prabhupada's indication. Of course, that's mostly speaking about kirtan in the temple. But of course, if we do Harinam or anything, we can chant some, Nitai Gauranga. But basically, we want people to chant, and most people won't understand Nitai Gauranga, or they won't understand, so many other songs. And so when we go on Harinam, the purpose is to give the blessing of Lord Chaitanya in the form of the holy name. And therefore we should concentrate on that. In a festival, we can chant so many different things. In temple, we can chant bhajans or in different events. But especially for the public, Srila Prabhupada said, for public, prasadam and the holy name. For people who are philosophically inclined, Bhagavad Gita. For devotees, Srimad Bhagavatam. And for pure devotees, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is the progression. But the people, the Mahamantra descended and is empowered by Lord Chaitanya. So that's what we especially want to give, and of course that's what we offer to the Lord, and we want to give that to the people in general, the Mahamantra. Beautiful. Hare Krishna. Someone back one.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for your class. I was just wondering if you could say something about the significance of Lord Chaitanya being born on a lunar eclipse, if there's any deeper significance to that.
About him, could you repeat that?
So my question is if you could explain why Lord Chaitanya was born on a lunar eclipse, and if there's a deeper significance to that, Maharaj.
I try just not. Oh, lunar eclipse. Why did he appear on a lunar eclipse? Well, he appeared on a lunar eclipse so everyone would come and chant his holy name. Otherwise, that's why there was a lunar eclipse. Of course, someone may calculate, someone may say, a materialistic person, the lunar eclipse you can calculate it was meant to be. But everything is meant to be by the will of the Lord. Otherwise, the whole designation of time, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, time I am. So the whole plan of everything is done in such a way that the Lord's Leela will unfold. That's the whole purpose. The whole purpose is that people will come to Krishna consciousness. The whole purpose of the material world, to facilitate that those who want to be independent of Krishna can come to Krishna. So, but the purpose is that everyone would come to the Ganga, just like when Krishna wanted to meet the residents of Vrindavan, then he arranged that there would be an eclipse, and everyone went to Kurukshetra. And so, these things are arranged by the Lord, even though it may be astrologically calculated. If you look at history and you look how the moon and the sun, but all of that is ultimately arranged by Krishna for his own pastime. Of course, esoterically speaking, Vrindavan Das Thakur said that the moon thought, why should I appear today? When the real moon, the eternal moon, I'm just a temporary moon. You're giving a little bit of, you get moonlight you can barely see. now the light of Gaura Chandra will illuminate the three worlds and illuminate everyone's heart. Therefore, what's the use of my being here and appearing?
I was thinking maybe there was some connection between the esoteric point that you had mentioned about the moon and how she felt so insignificant. And thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
How she felt when he was taking sannyas?
No, when he was born, maybe. Oh, is that? Maybe I misheard. So when he was born, Lord Chaitanya was born. Was that at the time? Was that when the moon felt insignificant in the presence of Lord Chaitanya?
Yeah, it was a long eclipse. No.
When he took sannyas. Oh, okay.
Yeah. When he took sannyas.
Is that when the moon felt insignificant?
How Mother Sachi felt? That was definitely an eclipse for her. No. When Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. No.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any other question? Anyway, now it's time to stop, and everybody has service to do to prepare for Abhishek and worshiping Lord Chaitanya and chanting and worshiping the Lord. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj ki, Jagat Guru
Prabhupada ki, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Sri Gaura Purnima ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vindi ki Jai.
It's a great privilege for us to thank His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj for providing us his wonderful auspicious association. Let's all put our hands up and please pray to the Supreme Lord that Maharaj may please keep visiting us again and again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.